All right, all right, all right. Dial it to 11. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy afternoon to the Jaybefaunt channel. I'm your host, James Fauntleroy. Today, I have special guests. I have Eric and Cory with me today. These movements tend to fail every single time. And then people will go apathetically, man, well, we did all this marching, we did all these protesting, and nothing happens. And I think one of the issues is that there is no list of demands and carrying out the consequence if those demands are not met. What do you want people to take away from these listed demands uh, before we get into it?
Sure. Well, I mean, one thing is when you're talking about numbers, one thing it makes me think of is 11. You know, why is it 11? And part of it is it kind of played out that way as far as constructing a list, at least an initial list. But it's also a concept. It kind of comes from in a way, that the Spinal Tap movies. if that's a weird connection. But there's the scene in Spinal Tap where he's showing off the amp, and he says, this amp goes up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says,
Yeah.
why don't you just make it 10? And he goes, no, it goes to 11. And so the concept is not to just be asking for what you'll accept or what you might get. The concept is to be asking for strong demands at the start. Don't start with compromises. So, for instance, the healthcare, Medicare for all is a compromise, right from
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah.
Demand healthcare for all. Demand a United States national healthcare system that represents everyone with no privatization. If you're talking about ending the wars, don't just demand that we end one or pull out of one. Demand an end to imperialism. Demand steep cuts in the military budget. If it comes to education, demand full up payment for education with public dollars, with federal dollars that we can generate. So that's one of the main concepts I'm trying to get at with it is don't start with compromises for starters. That's what Democrats do. Right?
Well, it kind of sounds like the old saying, if you shoot for the stars, you may get the moon, right? Is that your...
Yeah, although I mean, I think we should fully intend on a movement of getting it all. I don't think we should even be contemplating this idea of compromising, at least not early on, especially.
Right. And these ideas are also things that I think have to come from our leftist movement, because just to say one thing on the BLM movement and the George Floyd movement, one thing that I noticed is, and this is coming from the mainstream media, so we're going to have the mainstream media coming at us with these things. The mainstream media basically, in my opinion, once Derek Chauvin was convicted, they really put out the message that it's over. And that was the propaganda that was going out there.
That's the point.
And so it's one of those things, and also to nod on to the collaboration part is on that vein, even in this 11 demands list, we give a nod to the 10 demands for justice, which are absolutely great. And those are moments where we have to fight it, because mainstream media will tell us it's over. They will tell people that, and a lot of people will listen, and so we have to be continuously pushing against that.
Yeah, definitely.